Hey guys, it's Mo, and we finally have an update on this human dumpster water, corrodated trash water, the reason that the Anunnaki won't give us, the secrets to eternal life. And well, just an all around gross, disgusting human being. We finally have a little bit of, well, a finale to her case. Now, this has been a fairly big case in South Africa. Gonna tell you, I am ignorant of all of sort of the cultural aspects that may have gone into this case. Sort of how prominent is it that children are being sold and, given away for profit? I don't know all of that. Given that this has been, exported out of South Africa and has been touted as a fairly think Lori Vallow case, think the Elizabeth Smart case, think the, Suzanne Smith case over here. This has been a case that has really just captured, the national attention in South Africa. And I have been giving you guys updates as this has come out. At first, it seemed like a heartbreaking story of a mother leaving her daughter at home with her boyfriend, and then something happened. I mean, they do live in a less affluent, more poor, part of South Africa. And then things started changing. So let's get into the article because Lord Chippy awaits, because justice happens, even if it takes a little bit. A South African woman has been convicted of kidnapping and selling her 6-year-old daughter. Yes, selling her 6-year-old daughter. This is from Cape Town, South Africa. A South African woman was convicted Friday of kidnapping and selling her 6-year-old daughter in a case that horrified the country. The girl went missing more than a year ago and still, sadly, has not been found. Kelly Smith and two men, her boyfriend and their friend, were convicted of killing and human trafficking over the disappearance of Smith's daughter, Jocelyn, who was 6 when she went missing in February 2024. Now, Smith's full name is Raquel Chantel Smith, and she was initially, a figure of sympathy when her daughter went missing. Community members, rallied around her, offered to help find her daughter, look for her, you know, anything we need to do. Let's try to find this little girl. And they went over to the sand dunes that were, very close to this poor neighborhood of, they could be termed shacks, to the west coast town of Salonhana, by the poor neighborhood, and this particular neighborhood is about 120 kilometers or 75 miles north of Cape Town. Not quite sure, who is going, uh, where all the things are in South Africa, but if you know, that can kind of give you some kind of idea. Now, a photograph of a smiling, beautiful Jocelyn with her hair tied in pigtails was broadcast by news stations across South Africa as the police then launched a nationwide hunt. So this started fairly local, then, branched out to be a nationwide, search for this young lady. Now, Smith had told the police and investigating officers at first, initially, that she had left Jocelyn with her boyfriend on the day she disappeared. But in a shocking twist, Smith was then arrested. Now, a woman testified during the trial that Smith told her that she and the two men had sold Jocelyn for around $1,000 to a traditional healer who wanted the child for her body part. Now, the judge verdict did not make any conclusions on who the child was sold to or what exactly happened to her. Now, there is a sort of dark faith healing that does happen in some African countries where people with lighter complexion, blonde hair, lighter skin, lighter eyes are seen as heartbreakingly and horrifyingly as ingredients for local faith healings, faith cures. There have been documented cases of, African people with albinism being hunted, and taken apart for various things. I'm just throwing that out there. It's too horrifying to even imagine Lord Chippy might getting digestion with these people. I don't know. Just absolutely just terrifying that this might have been Jocelyn's final resting place as parts of traditional medicine. Now, Smith and her boyfriend, Joaquin Apolis, and their friend Stefano von Ryn face life in prison, and the judge is said sentencing hearings will begin next week. Now, I am not fully immersed in the legal system of South Africa. I don't know if they're going to be mitigating and, increasing or aggravating factors. I don't know anything about that, but it does look like they will have separate hearings for sentencing. People in attendance at the trial cheered and applauded when Judge Nathan Aramis read out the guilty verdicts. The trial was held in the Saldahan Bay Sports Center that had more space than the courtroom so members of the community could attend. I do appreciate that this being, such an important case for the community. They did make, exceptions. They did move to accommodate more people. Imagine if they did that in the Karen Reed case. We could actually have all the members of the community that wanted to go instead of, four and a half people from both sides. It'd be amazing. That being said, I hope that I hope that what was implied by, the giving this child to a, local witch doctor or whatever we call them, natural healers. I don't know the PC term anymore. I hope that that wasn't the end of this little girl. It's too horrifying to imagine. It is just too insanely upsetting and disturbing to imagine what happened to this child and for a mother to look upon her children as commodities, as, $1,000 here, $1,000 here. Where and what in your life leads you to this? What are we going to learn if there were substance abuse issues? Not that those are going to in any way justify it, but at least how and why? How and why do you get to a point where you see your children as commodities, as, ways to make your life better, as, bargaining chips, as, ingredients. I just make it make sense, y'all, because it doesn't. And I can only hope that the Lord Chippy attendants will work their bestest at cleaning out after these 3 people have been in his acquaintance because God, honestly, I can't imagine, that a South African prison is gonna be a fun place, but I'd rather they just not be here at all, allegedly in Minecraft. I don't know. I don't think you're gonna do anything useful for humanity in prison, but that's just me. Who knows? I'm just a redhead on the internet who doesn't like absolute gross women who pretend to be moms and sell their children. I'm glad South Africa found all of these 3 guilty, and Gen Pop justice, I'm sure, is down the pike because, people don't tend to like, even criminals don't tend to like people who sell their children to, become ingredients allegedly in Minecraft. Bye, you guys. I'm gonna need an adult support like Mike and Ike after this one, y'all. Not even gonna lie. Bye.